Man City, Real Madrid. None of us predicted a draw. We predicted either side to win,
But I predicted no goal hauls. I said there'll be no haul of goals. Like I
Yeah.
said it would. So I'll leave that one.
Yeah. And the striking Viking, you know, they were able to put him. Rudiger was able to put him in his pocket.
I told you that when you
It's
get
not
when
trial.
I told you guys as when you get Haaland, but the mistake they made is what we also complained about that day, that you have to get De Bruyne. They got Haaland, they couldn't get De Bruyne, and we can see De Bruyne, and you can see the effect of that. So I think they will learn that
Yeah.
lesson. These are the three people. If you can cage them, you will deal with Man City anyhow you want to deal with them. Gundogan, De Bruyne, and to some extent Haaland. If you can get these three, but majorly Gundogan and De Bruyne, if you can get them, the team is like anything you see, you take it.
Hmm. I think it
And
Yeah.
was it was it was easier than we even thought. It was
well,
so easy.
no, for me, from what I saw, I think it was Man City gave a very good run in the
Yeah.
number of shots they had and all that. But tactically, Real Madrid was just Real Madrid tactically. But definitely, in terms of play, I think Man City gave them a good run for their money. And Courtois was very much on point. And so that's what I think.
Don't even mention his name because I remember what he did to Liverpool. So I don't even want you to mention him at all. Let's go to the main deal, the main match, Man City and Real Madrid. I think it's balanced 50-50. You can't even say. I can't say. So wait, I'll start with you. Your has Rudiger released your striking Viking from his pocket?
So I wasn't surprised when I saw Rudiger. I wasn't,
Yeah.
because for those kind of people, you need specialists with a bit of Agbero DNA in them. So
Yeah.
and seeing that the current coach of Real Madrid also used to coach Chelsea, you know, his work was well cut out for him. I
Yeah.
just deployed Rudiger. I must say though that the officiating might play a role in this second leg, because there were times I was a bit concerned for Rudiger and his tactics, amongst other things. Anyways, we know Madrid. They are full of guile, very crafty individuals, and they often play with this idea that look, we are big boys. There's no need to, we know we have every answer. And in Ancelotti, you have a guy who's won this 4 or 5 times. Uh, so, frankly, I am not going to be surprised if it is a draw at the end of regulation time. I see that it might really be, hardly fought. But I think that both teams their fortunes might rest on certain issues of officiating. And I expect Pep to also instruct his players as well, because of course they are home, to also be a bit pragmatic about things. As we saw with the match at the Bernabeu, many people were saying that, so City too can be borderline parking the bus like this and be very pragmatic. But really, that's, I mean, there were phases of the play where they were, of course, much more attack oriented and all of that. Um, so I really don't know. I feel regulation time, it might end in a draw. Madrid has. I just feel that Man City probably edged just a little bit with potential to score goals more. Uh, there's that. They still have Haaland. Haaland has just not become a bad player overnight. He scored today. I mean, he most like, and he's relentless, and all. But I feel that Man City, they are getting very savvy about this sort of things now, and they really have the right kind of mentality as well as the players to approach this second leg. But Madrid is always Madrid. It's essentially their cup. So I'm sorry. I don't know what anything will happen after regulation time, but I'm not going to be surprised if it's a draw by that time. After then anything can happen. And then watch out for the referee's performance.
Oh, okay. So, Joey, I was reading something about after the match, and they said Haaland did not. It's easy to control Haaland because he does not really drop deep enough. He's a fantastic finisher, do you get? So he does not really, really put in so much work falling back. So he waits
Yeah.
to finish the ball most times, and he does that perfectly well. So do you think, because definitely I think Rudiger is going to start. And maybe Zalaba I don't think might start, but definitely Rudiger is going to start. Do you think he will still do what he did? Because Pep is a smart guy, so he saw what happened and he's going to try to see what he's going to do. So what do you think about Rudiger Haaland? Do you think he was going to start again? Second leg.
With Haaland, there are two things. Haaland, as we all know, is very young, so there's still lot of room for growth. I think on the scoring side, Haaland is overachieving because
Exactly.
whether Messi, Ronaldo, some of the great goal scorers we've known, they've not been able to do it at the rate and at the same frequency he's doing at his age. There's still a lot of room for growth for him. I recall when Thierry first came to Arsenal, I think then typical Nigerians never been an Arsenal fan, but naturally, if Arsenal is playing, I would just want Kano to do well. And I noticed that Thierry never ever gave the ball. Thierry would simply just hang around the box and try to score. And for a lot of fans, then it was like a problem. But we all know eventually Thierry set a record for the number of assists in the league, 20, which stayed from 2002 till De Bruyne just tied it 2 seasons ago. So that's where we think Haaland could improve. He could probably, there's
Yeah.
room for improvement on his hold up play, how he comes down to the midfield to contribute. The same thing. Benzema wasn't the Benzema we know now. When Benzema first came in, Benzema was more like a reincarnation, more like a copy of the old Ronaldo. He want to get the ball and try to dribble two or three people. So I think Jose Mourinho then at times would just prefer to even use Higuain ahead of him when he was in Real Madrid in some games where he needed someone who had that cutting edge. Then when he needed someone who could hold the ball and then try and get Madrid into play, he will start up with so there's room. What I simply say is Haaland is working with the best coach who can get him to improve on those sides. I don't think Pep is going to change anything. He'll still use him. He'll he probably might have some issues. He might struggle still. But Haaland is not someone who loses confidence because he doesn't have touches. Against Everton today, he had two touches. His third touch in the 35th minute was a goal. One touch is it 10th minute in his own box. He had the second touch like maybe 20 minutes, 10 minutes later. Then by the third touch, he was heading in. So he's that kind of player, doesn't need so many touches. And going back to what Sewedo said, when you get away with certain fouls, times referees too have a look at it. So Madrid might be coming into this second leg with the referee's eye on them because, yeah, when it comes to Haaland versus Rudiger, I think both of them enjoyed it. You could see at the end of the game, they hugged each other, were laughing. At times, Haaland would fall down and then stand up and give Rudiger a handshake. So they were enjoying the physical battle. But the key one that went away is a lot of Madrid players were diving all over the place. I think there was a case whereby Samavinga went down without any contact, and the Man City players, I think, got a yellow card. Then Carvajal was just all over this guy, and he got away with a lot of stuff. So it doesn't always help you because the referee is in the game. He might not see it, but in the return leg, the referee might decide that I don't want that kind of thing. I'm going to stamp it out early. So you might have situations whereby you really have decisions that go against you, but you've created that mindset. That referee has come into the game with this mindset that these guys are going to always try to cheat me, so I'm not going to allow it. So it might not play to Madrid's favor. And let's also note that the crowd has a factor. The crowd can make the referees take decisions that ordinarily he won't take. So you have the city crowd shouting, telling him, "Oh, this person went down." You might suddenly see a referee giving Madrid players cards for simulation for foul play. So it's very important that they avoid that. They are experienced, they've been in that situation several times. So I expect them to also think along the same lines and probably make changes. But I think the second leg will be similar to how we saw the first leg. It's more like two gladiators watching out for each other's error. If Man City makes an error, Madrid are always there to punish you.
Yeah.
And the same thing on Madrid's side. It's about who makes the least errors. That's who's going to win this game. Otherwise, it might end in a draw, might even go into penalty shootout. But if if it goes into extra time, I think Man City might have the edge simply because year by year the Madrid guys are aging. As good as they are aging. There's going to come a time if they play up to 120 minutes, that might tell on them. So that might just be City's edge. But I see the likelihood of 90 minutes ending with both sides still drawing.
Okay. Ernest.
Let me just say the referee issue is important and very important. And you can even see in the last match, even City got some benefits from that because there was a ball that was already, out of play, and yet they was given to them as being in play, and the run eventually led to a
Yeah.
goal. So that's also there. So playing at Man City is not. The English fans can be very, and Man City fans actually can be very, 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 very contributive, and I think that's going to play a role. As Suedo said, it's going to be a tight match, and expectedly end in 0-0. But I think that, I mean, I am not happy saying it, but I think that Man City will overrun Real Madrid finally. So that's what I think, and I think they're going to win that game. I don't know the score, but they're going to win that game, which is sad, but they will win it. I really think that when they run riots in front of their fans and against the Real Madrid defense, they will definitely come out better. Yes, they have a better way of doing. I think that De Bruyne and Gundogan, will definitely do more than Rodrigo, Cruz, and so on.
I think he
And
rested De
Modric,
Bruyne today.
yeah,
Today.
Yeah,
and they would do better than Modric and Cruz and those guys would do. I think Kamavinga is okay, but I think I'll give it to Man City. I'll give it to Man City.
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
sadly, but I'll give it to Man City. I think that this is their game.
Yeah.
I know,
I
I
think they
know.
said he was injured, something, but I think Ancelotti said it's something he's going to be available on
Everybody's
Wednesday.
playing mind game. Don't mind what they're doing. It's all
It's
these things
mind
are mind
games.
game. Yeah,
That's how we're told about this guy being probably question marks on him. Then Modric starts and plays the full 90 minutes and plays
amazing.
Yeah.
very well. And you start wondering, don't trust these coaches when they say that because
Yeah.
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 So then another thing I'll add is Gundogan. Gundogan actually was made a lot of errors in the first leg. It's very much unlike him. He gave lots of balls away. The same thing with Kai Walker. But Kai Walker
Yeah.
has the advantage of pace. He somehow still runs back and then covers up for any errors he made. But those two were behind a lot of errors on the Man City side. Man City started like a house on fire, but after they conceded, I think their confidence was shaken. And those two
Yeah.
players were the ones most affected by conceding a goal. It gave Madrid more confidence, but Madrid, on the other hand, too, also had some error-prone players. Carvajal there were times he resorted to just fouling, and he got away with lots of them. And then this guy wasn't so much. Valverde wasn't so much in the game. He wasn't allowed to do his box-to-box runs. He was forced to play very deep to try and uh, pro- provide cover for Modric. So it didn't give him room to run forward as much as he would. So I'm thinking he will likely do the same thing. It's very rare for Madrid to be the team sitting back and waiting for counters, especially when they are playing at home. But that's what they did. I think they tried to utilize the pace of Camavinga and Vinicius on the left wing. It really worked well. The two of them had good understanding and they combined very well with Karim Benzema. I think that's still going to be very important. Depends on how what Man City do to try and counter that. But the quality of those three players, Vinicius, Karim, and Modric, supporting Camavinga around that left wing, it's very difficult to see any team that can actually stop them. The only challenge for Madrid is it forces Karim to drop into the midfield to work with those three. So it becomes more difficult having to now run back to be at the end of those balls. So it depends on how much Rodrigo and Valverde, who are very good at arriving in the box, how well they are at doing that, how efficient they are, so that when Benzema draws either Diaz out, they take advantage of it. But if they don't do that, if they still let City dominate the play, City might not have Gundogan misplacing passes like he did in the first leg. If they get him, he gets the balls to fit very well in the second leg, it might be a very different ball game for Madrid. So for City, it's just about cutting out the errors from their key players, and then for Madrid, is to take advantage of any errors City make. Excellent.
Okay.
I just have to say this. Just I think also we have to think about the coaches, the way the coaches, treat their players matter. I think you know Pep is one of the best coaches in the world, but I also think that the way he treats his players makes them play in a kind of an edgy manner. The way he reacts to them, the way he addresses them, makes them like play with some kind of loss of confidence in a way. And that would be at play in this. Like Gundogan, for instance, how he attacked him after he missed that penalty, in the last match they had, because Haaland could take the penalty, Gundogan took it. The reaction of Pep was just so like, what kind of thing is this? I know he expects a lot of things from his players, and that's also puts the players on an edge and make them like have some constraints. But it's different from what Ancelotti does, and different from what we expect. So it's also a factor that we have to put in. How much do the players play? How much relaxed will they play? There'll be much pressure on Man City players than on Real Madrid players, and that can affect their play. And that is why I point out at Gundogan, because some of those mistakes are mistakes like you become so cautious that you begin to make mistakes unknowingly, like because you're afraid of every ball you get. What will the coach say? Well, how will he approach this? And you begin to make such mistakes. So that is a problem that might also make a difference in this whole game. But I still think that City, if they just do the basics, will win.
Okay.
Mhm.
So why do you going to say something?
No. There was a point somebody mentioned Kamavinga, and you smiled, and I said, "Yes, everybody knows that you are Kamavinga's latest girlfriend." You were so full of praise. You were
He
so
was
full
on
of praise for
fire. He was
him.
my man of the match, the last match.
I mean, he really had a good game. I had been, if you notice, in the this edition we had just before the games, I was a bit iffy about him because of a couple of matches I had seen, but he really really did a very good job.
Fantastic.
He ensured that there was always danger anytime he's moving forward to connect with Vinicius and stuff. Not
Yeah.
bad. And he wasn't
You
bad
know?
with his defensive duties as well. So
And he played two positions. He played as a left back and then they moved him forward, to the midfield. I think he just killed both. And which is my concern. Now I don't know if Ancelotti is going to play him in the midfield or as a left back because I think Nacho is back or something. So I wouldn't know. But either way, I think he kills it. And maybe who knows, he might just score a goal. So let's go to the prediction.